Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us in our session today titled Fanshawe College's Digital Transformation, Data, Diversity, and Learning. My name is Ann Christensen. I'm the Director of Development and Partnerships at CBIE, and I'm very happy to have all of you with us here today, as well as our panelists. So without further ado here, I'm going to introduce our panelists. So first we have Saru Malhotra, Senior Manager, International Recruitment and Market Development from Fanshawe College. We have Christine Walk, Director of Client Partnerships Canada from IDP Connect, and Ellie Butler, Marketing Manager, IDP Connect. So I will pass over to our panelists here. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Anne. I will kick things off with the next slide. And though we know many of you today, we thought we'd kick things off with a quick high-level overview of IDP Connect. So IDP Connect is the B2B division of IDP Education. And we are world leaders in international student placement services and digital recruitment solutions. We are also proud co-owners of IELTS and a leading event management company of global education events. So we support colleges and universities every year, reaching millions of international students every year through both our unparalleled digital and physical network. And I think what makes us really unique is the depth of data that we have access to across our global connected community of both digital and physical network around the world. And we provide these data and insights in order to strategically partner with our institutions on international recruitment, planning, outreach, and support. So thank you everyone for joining us. We're thrilled to be here today with Saurabh, and I will pass this over next to my colleague Ellie to give you an overview of IDP Connect's digital transformation.
Thanks, Christine, for that great company introduction. And I'm going to briefly talk about our digital transformation as a company. We know that COVID-19 is accelerating the future of work, study, and communication, and it has forced us all, really, across all industries, to embrace going digital. So over the past 2 decades or so, technology has transformed the way we live and work, and now with COVID, we're sort of in this microcosm of that transformation. We're moving at exponential pace to accomplish as much as we can on digital platforms, from our meetings to our banking to medical appointments to now more and more international student recruitment. And while digital platforms will never fully replace the face-to-face in-person interactions that we all know and love, they are going to play a significantly larger role in this industry, because they'll provide an outlet that will be much more accessible and on demand for students than college fairs or campus visits as we move forward through this pandemic. So since the pandemic began, what we're seeing as an organization is that institutions are quickly pivoting to get their digital recruitment strategies in order. They're reaching out to us saying, I can't travel anymore. I know I need to get my digital strategy in order. What should I do? And as a company, we are very well placed to manage this transition to digital platforms because we had our own digital transformation back in 2017 with our strategic acquisition of Hot Courses. So now we're managing a range of websites across Hot Courses and idp.com, and we're very well equipped to help institutions in making their own digital transformations. So on the next slide, we will talk a little bit about what this looks like and what these sort of digital innovations we have been making to ensure that institutions can continue to reach international students. So we have quickly pivoted to offering virtual fairs. And here you can see what those look like on our Zoom-based virtual event platform. This is what a student would see when they are logged in and they're speaking to a university representative. Over the past 3 months at IDP Connect, we have engaged over 20,000 international students across these virtual events, with many, many more upcoming. And on the next slide, you'll see that we have also recently launched an app for students, which began its pilot in July of last year and now is being rolled out live across several countries. And this app is essentially a college search platform in your pocket. So we effectively want students to feel that whatever service they are used to physically, whether that be walking into a physical IDP office and speaking to a counselor, picking up a brochure and reviewing information about an institution, we want to make sure that they are able to have those experiences on this app. We are also in the process of rolling out a full college search and matching engine through this app, and this will also have a recommendation engine. So much like a student's first time talking to a university representative at a fair or walking into a counseling office, we want to make sure that we understand the student and their individual wants. So we push questions to students to make sure that we have them build out their profile or passport, as we're calling it on the app, so that we can begin to recommend the right playlists of universities and institutions for them to start researching more deeply. And on the next slide, you will see that the app asks various questions around entry requirements, student preferences, and it essentially learns the student. So as they swipe left and swipe right and select these preferences and engage with the content, it learns more and more about the student, and it can then offer them tailored advice and recommendations on which institutions are the best fit for them, which courses, which destinations should they explore, and so on. And we're actually not interested in giving thousands of results for students and featuring every single institution that we work with. That wouldn't be very helpful for students. Instead, we really want to build a smaller set of results that are customized, tailored to their preferences, their academic qualifications, their destination of choice, and so on. So that is a pretty brief run through of some of our latest digital innovations as a company. I will now pass it back to Christine, and she will discuss the digital adoption curve.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Ellie. So on this side, we see the adoption curve, or the diffusion of innovation, which really breaks down adoption of digital by categories. And what we know is that across our lives, COVID-19 has really accelerated that curve. So it's a real push to rapid adoption of digital recruitment and use of technology across work, life, communication with students, and really all areas. And it's forced us across all industries to embrace going digital. And you know, the past few decades, tech has really transformed our lives. But now we are in this bubble of this really moving much more quickly than perhaps we previously anticipated. And so things that we are used to doing online, like banking, we're now being pushed to adapt to mental health appointments, medical appointments, and more, obviously, student recruitment, communication, and outreach. So we don't think that digital platforms would ever fully replace the human in-person experience of student fairs and outreach. We do know and believe that they'll start playing a much larger and larger role in our industry because they really provide this platform that makes it a much better experience for the student in terms of 24/7, 365 outreach and communication on demand. And much more so than, say, a traditional fair or campus visit. So what we've noticed, as Ali said, since the pandemic began, is that we're working with our partners, and many more have reached out to us who now have their travel grounded, and they really need to shift their digital ducks into a row, so to speak. So to get a move to digital recruitment in what had maybe previously been planned over a year or 2 years is now being pushed to 3 to 6 weeks as everything sort of flipped up and down and travel has been grounded. So I think this slide really clearly visualizes that. And of course, we had the early adopters and those innovators at the far left-hand side of the slide that were on before everybody else and are very well positioned in this. And then we have the early adopters, as I said, in this 13.5%. And now we're really in this early majority, and we think that we will be at the peak of this bell curve by the end of this year. I think Ellie spoke to IDP's digital transformation, which was really led by the strategic acquisition of Hot Courses in 2017. So as we're partnering with these institutions, we're very well positioned to support institutions to pivot quickly and begin this transformation wherever they are in the journey. And so from here, I am going to pass it off to Saurabh, who's going to talk a bit about Fanshawe's digital transformation.
Thank you, Christine. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to start by talking a little bit about Fanshawe and where we stand right now. So Fanshawe is the sixth largest college in the province of Ontario with 22,000 full-time students, and 8,800 of them are international students from more than 104 countries. In 2017, more than 70% of our level 1 international students came from one market. And that to Fanshawe wasn't right, I'd say, acceptable. The problem wasn't unique to Fanshawe. It still isn't unique to Fanshawe. There are multiple colleges who have the same issue, but for us, we needed to do something about it. And we used multiple channels to address that. There are a set of core beliefs that we have within Fanshawe for our international enrollment. In-country representations, we have representatives in multiple countries. In 2017, we had 9. Right now, it stands at about 15. So we upped that. We changed our enrollment management. So we did multiple things to address that. And as it stands right now, we have less than 50% from our number 1 market, which is India. It's still substantial, but it's not the 70+% that we used to a few years back. But another big thing that we did to this was we added digital as a part of our core belief within Fanshawe International. The reason we looked at digital, multiple reasons, of course, but resources is a big reason. I think everyone is being asked to do more with the same resources or less resources. Sometimes digital does that really well. Diversity, you could recruit from multiple regions without even going there. I also consider digital a really good market research tool. So if, for example, you wanted to enter a new market, but you necessarily won't want to go there, if you do a digital campaign, you'll get a sense of the market. You'll also get a sense of what kind of questions do students and agents and parents have in that market. So that's another really important thing about digital. Intelligence and analytics, this I think is my favorite reason for using digital. And I think IDP Connect kind of epitomizes this. Every dollar I spend on digital, I know exactly where it went. I know exactly what I got out of it. For myself, but also for informing senior management, I think that's super important. And everything we do needs to tie with return on investment. And that's something that digital does really, really well. What I want to do briefly is introduce Fanshawe's digital ecosystem. So there are multiple tools that we use. I'm going to introduce those tools to you and talk briefly about some of those tools as well. So the first tool that we use in international recruitment is the lead generation tools. IDP Connect is a tool we tied up with in 2017, Hot Courses, IDP Connect. I'll use these names interchangeably. But when we first started, it was Hot Courses, and it's been IDP Connect now. So IDP Connect, we've partnered with since 2017. And that's been a very successful partnership. I'm going to show you some numbers in the next slides. Fanshawe I've put there is because I think sometimes we underestimate the lead generation capabilities of our own website. I think that's also really important to remember and really important to follow up with those students as well. A student who's applied or who's filled up a lead generation form on your website might have already applied to you, but the reason they filled that form up is because they want to hear more, or there is some information that they want. So I think it's really important to follow up on that as well. Keystone Academic Solutions is another lead generation tool that we use. Their brand is called Master Studies as well. And AppSheet is what we use when we have recruiters going into physical fairs. So just having students fill in that form that we use through AppSheet. So that's the first kind of tools that we use. The next kind is the communications. So it's not enough that IDP Connect would give you these great leads, qualified leads as I call them. What you do with them, what you do with them is what matters. And I think that's where communication comes in. The most important tool, I think the biggest tool, the easiest tool I would say that many people use is MailChimp. And that's a tool that we've used for many, many years as well. Now, in fact, we are moving away from MailChimp a little because we are moving into our CRM, leads management, leads tracking system as well. Zoom, the tool that you're using today, is something that we've used for about 4 years for online student sessions. ChatFuel is an automated chatting platform that we use for our Facebook. Acuity Scheduling is a platform we use for students to make virtual appointments with our recruiters. And that's a tool that we found to be very, very useful. A lot of these tools might seem like 50 different brands that you're using for digital, but a lot of this could be seamless as well. So as an example, if IDP Connect sends us a lead, putting that into our CRM is through integration. It's seamless. If a student through that wants to book an appointment with one of our recruiters through Acuity Scheduling, they book that appointment. Through integration, there'll be automated meetings scheduled on Zoom, and that will be added to the Outlook calendar of our representative as well as the student. So the whole process, there might be 50 brands behind this, but the whole process could be seamless as well. Maple Assist is an online, is an app that we've used. Instead of asking students all the time to come to a platform we're using, apps and mobile is what students really like using. So that's where meeting them there is really important as well. Intel and Analytics, as I said earlier, is one of my favorite parts. Mautic is a tool. It really can be a CRM, but for our purposes, we use it as a leads management, leads tracking system. Higher Education Marketing is the company which helped us set this up. I can track all the leads that came from IDP Connect, how many of them applied to us, how many of them converted into enrolled students. All that, I don't have to do anything. It's automated through our leads management system. In fact, I can look at data like students who book a lead, who book a recruiter appointment through Acuity Scheduling, how more likely are they to enroll with Fanshawe than someone who doesn't book an appointment? Through leads tracking, leads management system, we can look at all this data. And we've looked at that data. That data tells us anyone who's met us through our Acuity Scheduling, their conversion rates are much higher. So we push that a lot. But IDP Connect's own data. So I would talk about enrollment tracker in a minute, IQ Intelligence, all that data that they have, student perception data, parent perception data, country perception data that they release every year. Those are things that I use, not so much in day-to-day, but I use that to inform our senior management. And that's the kind of data that they like hearing from and like seeing as well. And this last bunch is just integration tools like Zapier and Google Sheets. These are for techies and digital person. I also have no clue how to integrate, but that's something the digital experts here at Fanshawe and any tool that you're using would help you do. Now, what I want to do is run you through the whole system of how we follow up with the lead, because as I said, IDP Connect can provide that qualified lead. What we do with that is up to us. And sending a simple email is likely not enough. There needs to be a plan. There needs to be some thought behind how to follow up, how to track that as well. So here I have taken an example of a student from Brazil who in 2018 was a lead through IDP Connect. He said he wants to take professional financial services program at Fanshawe College. He was interested in 2019, and his question was, do you offer pathways? So the first thing that happens to a lead that comes in is, and in 2018, we were doing this through MailChimp. We have a nurture stream. It's a set of 8 emails. It could be 1 email, 2 emails, 20 emails for different people. But what nurture stream allows you to do is then the set of email, there can be a set of emails. What email they get next depends on students' interaction with the first email that they get. So if, let's say, the first email has multiple links, how they interact with those links, what links do they click? That means they're interested in that data. So the next email could be about that. So that's just a nurture stream in essence. And we use that a lot. For this particular student, we know the student was interested in tuition and fees, an appointment with us, career service, and a bunch of different things. The next thing that happened with that particular lead was one of our interns, so at that time we have Gani, who was our marketing management student. He emailed the student. Apart from the nurture stream, we always use these personalized emails as well. where he said, hey, I'm a student here at Fanshawe. You sent us a question, here is an answer. If you have anything else, please reach out to us as well. And you would see Fanshawe College Acuity Scheduling link is there as well, because we know that is a critical defining factor of student conversion. We push that in every possible email to students. And that's exactly what happened. Next thing that the student did was book an appointment with Nelson, who is our recruiter for Latin America. Now we have a recruiter for Brazil specifically as well, but at that time, Nelson was looking after Latin America as well. So that's the next thing that the student did. November 30th, the student applied through Hi Bonjour, which is one of our great partners in Brazil. He applied for professional financial services and insurance and risk management. VAS is another digital tool that we use. It's our online application system, which we launched in 2018. It changed the way we manage our international applications. From an average of 8 minutes, it took us to give a decision on one application before 2018. Since 2018, it's 1 minute on an average that it takes us to take an admission decision. So that's another thing that's transformed our international enrollment as well. Now, the student came to us for January 2020, but had a second program of insurance risk management, which would start in September 2020. So in May 2020, the student still interacted with us. We were targeting all students who are starting in September 2020. We wanted to do an online session about learning online at Fanshawe with one of our online learning coordinators. We did the session in May end, and the student took part in that. And he is enrolled, of course, doing the first program with us, enrolled for a second program starting September as well. That's just to give you an example of how we interact with leads. There are multiple other touch points as well, but these would be the most common touch points that we use to interact with our leads. Data, as I said, is super important. So here's the IDP Connect data for us. Since 2017, August 2017 is when we started working with IDP Connect for lead generation. 29,000 leads from more than 130 countries have come to Fanshawe. Email open rates, click-through rates can all be tracked. The acuity scheduling is another really interesting thing. And I think Ellie and Christine were talking about how COVID-19 has changed. We've seen our engagement gone through the roof. So you would see in 2019, all of 2019, we had 1,000 appointments booked for IDP Connect leads. In 2020, and 6 months only, like we're only through 6 months, there are already more than 2,000 leads, appointments that have been booked just in 2020 with IDP Connect leads. And that's showing you how engagement is going through the roof, and how having these digital tools would help with that engagement as well. A few things. So we've had some successes, some failures, but a few things I think that have been important for us have been, one, having the right people. So I think the partners we work with. So for example, IDP Connect, but also your internal people. In 2017, we put in requests for digital people, for communications people within international, and our senior management approved those requests. I think that was really important. In my communications team, international communications team, I have two people. One is an old school communications expert. She's been an RJ. She's a communications expert, has studied from Fanshawe and has been a professor at Fanshawe, has great network within the college, within the city. So an old school communications person. And this other person I have is a person who lives and breathes digital, right? And he's also a grad of Fanshawe, of course. But both of them together, I think, create this really interesting team for us that we really like as well. One pitfall, I think, is always assess your digital infrastructure. That is super important. One example that I like talking about of our failure is Sales Whale. It's a great platform. It was not their failure. It was our failure. It's a platform which can provide customized email responses and not just responses, conversations, customized email conversations. It's a very neat tool. We went with them. We did a couple of months of effort into that. And then we realized our email system that we had at Fanshawe could not support that system. So I think assessing the digital infrastructure you have is really important as well. And a big thing is that it takes time for results. A digital lead generation especially can take 12 to 18 months. Not that you'll not see results for 12 to 18 months, but I think you'll see the big return on investment after 12 to 18 months. And here, I'll talk about some results that we have had with IDP Connect. Actually, if I talk about data with IDP Connect, I can go on for 30 minutes just talking about the data with IDP Connect, but I'll just share that on this one slide. You will see the enrolled students through the Hot Courses / IDP Connect website that we've had from 2017-18, 129 to 300, more than 300 in 2019-20. One thing that we were very clear with IDP Connect was this tool is a tool for us to increase diversity. So we will not count India into our return on investment numbers. Without India having the return on investment numbers that we have are super important and super impressive, I would say. In 2018, we had 1:13. So that means every dollar we spent on digital through IDP Connect resulted into $13 of revenue. Now it's more than $70 for every dollar I spent. That is what results look like. It's been almost 3 years for us using IDP Connect, and that's the kind of results that we have seen. And truly, we've seen these results with every good lead generation platform, every good digital platform that we've engaged with. But of course, IDP Connect is by far our oldest and biggest partner. So that briefly is my 2 cents on this. If there are questions, comments, I think I'll give it back to CBIE to see how to handle those. Thank you.
Thanks so much to all of you for your very engaging and interesting presentation. There's a few questions that have come through. Ali, Christine, I noticed that you're reviewing them. Did you have any quick comments in the last 2 minutes to those questions?
I think the last question is for Saurabh.
Okay.
Question regarding his CRM and how he handled the large volume of leads that came his way prior to having CRM in place.
Yeah, very interesting. And we joke with IDP Connect. My CRM before the real CRM was a VLOOKUP. I had to come up with the return on investment for every dollar we spent. So we were really VLOOKUPing up. However, IDP Connect's enrollment tracker is a very good tool to use. So before we had our CRM, we were using their enrollment tracker to a large extent. Still, we were using VLOOKUP, their data versus our enrolled data, and we were seeing how many of them were enrolling with us. But yeah, since we've had CRM, our life has been made very easy. Every morning I can open my dashboard and tell you how many more have converted, how many more have converted.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to our presenters. Thank you for our attendees today. It was a wonderful turnout, a very interesting presentation. As I mentioned, all of the slides will be available as well as the recording following, and you have some emails here. And if you want to get in touch with our presenters to ask more questions, feel free to contact them in that way, or connect with them during the virtual campus in our break after this session. So with that, I'm just going to thank all of you very much again on behalf of CBIE. Thank you for your attention, and we'll close the session there. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.